Welcome to Simply Pi Maths.
Let's see how to solve word problems using linear equation and two variables. So this is one of a kind question. So it says two numbers differ by 3. The sum of twice the smaller number and thrice the greater number is 19. Find the numbers. Okay. So whenever such word problems comes in front of you, so first of all, the very first question that comes into your mind is like, for whom should I assume x and for whom should I assume y? Right? In order to identify your x and y, the best part is look at the very end line of the word problem. So it says find the numbers. So here your numbers will be x and y. Okay. So now comes like which numbers, right? Because there is something called as a smaller number and a greater number discussed over here. I will assume my smaller number as x and greater number as y, and that's how my sum will begin. Okay. So let me quickly start my sum. So I will say solution, let smaller number be x. Okay, let smaller number be x, and let's use the same wording, greater number. So let me say let greater number be y. Okay, so that is where I have identified for whom should I assume x and for whom should I assume y. So x is my smaller number and y is my greater number. Okay, now reading the very first line of this word problem, I will form my first equation. Okay, so that is the reason why I will say like according to first condition. Okay, so let's read the first condition written over there. It says two numbers differ by 3. So you have to understand a point over here. When you say differ by 3, that means when you subtract those two numbers. Differ means basically subtract. Okay, so and there is another word called as sum, S-U-M. Sum means add and differ means subtract. Okay, just remember this. Sum means add and differ means subtract. So it says that two numbers differ by 3. That means when you do a subtraction of the two numbers, you will get the result as 3. That is what they mean to say. So who are my two numbers in this case? X and y. So the one thing to note over here is like, I understood one simple thing, that if I subtract both of them, I will get the answer as 3. This is what they mean to say. But the very first problem that comes over here is like, if you see x is my smaller number, as per my assumption, right? I have assumed the smaller number as x and greater number as y. So since x is my smaller number and y is my greater number, don't you think if I subtract like this, it should give me a negative answer? You think so, right? So that means writing x over here and y over here will not make sense. So the best way will be write the bigger number over here, y, and the smaller number over here, x. So this will be the best way to represent this line which says two numbers differ by 3. That means when you subtract bigger number with the smaller number, you will get a difference of 3. Okay, so I can number it as equation number 1. But the problem is like, usually when we solve the problems, we have ever seen x in the beginning and y at the end, right? So that means x should be somewhere over here and y should come over here. So let me arrange x and y, and then and then I will number it as equation number 1. So now in order to arrange it, what I need to keep in mind is like, whenever I am arranging it, the sign should not change, because I am not sending this x or y over here to the other side of equals, right? It is still there. Just for the convenience and just to make it look nice, what I will do is I will shift x here and y here. So focus on this. How I am doing is like, I'm just swiping the place of x and y. That means when I bring x over here, I will bring it along with its sign minus. So it will look like this, minus x. I just brought it over here, and this y I will send behind. So what is the sign of y, by the way? Positive. So it should remain like this, positive y. And this is my equal sign as it is, and 3 over here as it is. So if you have noticed, I have logically written this line. The reason is because to get the answer as 3, I should have the bigger number at the beginning and smaller number at the end. then only I will get a positive answer as 3, right? That is the reason why the greater number y I kept it in the front and the smaller number x I kept in the back. But in order to solve the problem, it is usually recommended to keep x in the front and y at the back. So I just rearranged it by keeping the signs in mind, minus x over here and y behind. But what is the sign of y? Positive. So I will just keep positive y behind and the remaining parts as it is. So this is my equation number 1. Now I will have some other condition mentioned over here in the second line. So before moving into that, let me write like according to second condition. So what there in second condition, let's read and write together. So it says sum of, as I said before, right? Sum means addition. So sum of means what you have to simply do is you have to put an addition sign. Sum of what? Sum of twice the smaller number. Smaller number is x. Twice means 2x. And what? Thrice the greater number. Greater number is y and thrice means 3y. So thrice the greater number is 19, means is equals to 19. Simple as that. So there was no such complexity while writing this equation. Let me number it as equation number 2. Now you have both the equations with you. I believe you will be simply able to proceed ahead. I will just give a hint over here. What you can probably do is multiply this equation 1 by 2 in order to get 2y. No, not by 2, right? Because yeah, you can go ahead with 2. So it will give you 2x over here and you have 2x already over here. But being the signs different, you can add them in order to cancel them. Or else you have another option, multiply equation 1 by 3. So it will become 3y. You have a 3y already over here, so you will see same term 3y with the same sign, positive, same term, same sign. So you can subtract those equations to get your x and y. Okay, so I am not solving this complete sum, considering that you are now comfortable by solving the linear equations referring to my previous videos. So you will be able to solve this sum is what I believe. But finally, when you solve this sum and you get your value of x and y, let's say you got some value of x and you got some value of y. To be precise, let me just fetch out the value of x and y, which you should ultimately get. So the smaller number is 2. So my smaller number is x, right? So it should be 2 and the greater number is 5. So this is something that you will finally achieve when you solve these two equations simultaneously. And once you get these two values of x and y, your final answer should be something like, what was the question? Find the numbers, right? So you will write your final answer as, therefore the required numbers are what? 2 and 5 or 5 and 2. You can write either ways, it's not a problem. Okay, so the main crux of such word problem sums are to find out the equations. So once you have found out the equation, you can use any method and solve them in order to find your value of x and y. Okay, let's see another word problem of the similar sort. Okay, so the next sum is something like this. In a diagrammatical way, they have represented a question in which there is a rectangle drawn and it is said that I am a rectangle. And there are few values written over here. Using these, what I need to find is, I need to find the value of x and y hidden inside it. Once I have the value of x and y, I need to find perimeter and area. Let's go very step by step. So since it says that it is a rectangle, and we know a property of rectangle that opposite sides are always equal in a rectangle, isn't it? That means this and this should be ultimately same. At the same time, this and this should be ultimately same. So considering that, how I will start writing the solution is, I will say, since in a rectangle, opposite sides are equal, right? Opposite sides are equal. Therefore, in this case, who are my opposite sides? Let me see. 2x plus y plus 8 and 4x minus y. You may say, sir, this is also a opposite side, right? We can come to that later. We'll take one by one. First, we'll focus on these two opposite sides. So what I will say is 2x plus y plus 8 is equals to 4x minus y. And the reason is nothing else but opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. So as soon as I have written this, I cannot number it as 1 because it is not in a standard form. So what I mean by standard form, all the x and y's should be in left side and all the numbers should be in the right side, isn't it? So let me try doing that. So I have a x term over here. Let me keep it as it is. But there is another x term who is standing over here. So it should come over here ideally, right? So let me bring it over here. So when this 4x comes over here, will that become minus 4x, isn't it? Because it is coming to the other side of equal to. So this is a plus 4x. It will come over here as minus 4x. Here already there is a plus y standing over here. So now who is another y term this side? It is minus y. Let me bring this minus y over here. Again it will become what? Plus y. And finally coming to the number, this number is not supposed to be over here. It should be in the other side, right? Because numbers should always be on the right side. So what I will do is I will bring this 8 over here. So 4x came and minus y from this side came over here as plus y. Now nothing is remaining over here. So what I will do is I will send this plus 8 over here. So it will become minus 8. Still I will not number this because I just need to do some calculation with these x terms and with these y terms. So let me do that now. Just give it a thought and tell me 2x minus 4x, it will be minus 2x, right? And y plus y, it will be 2y. 2y is equals to minus 8. Now yes, you can number this as equation number 1, but what I suggest is like we can still simplify this a bit forward. I mean we can just simplify it to one step at least. So what I mean is, if you see in this x we have 2 and for this y also we have a constant 2. Considering both of them are same number, let's divide throughout by 2. This equation will become more simpler one, isn't it? Let us try doing that. So what I will say is divide throughout by 2. We get. So the only intention over here is to make the equation look more simpler and easier. So when I divide throughout by 2, just give it a thought what we will get. When I put a 2 over here, 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So minus x will remain. When I put a 2 over here, 2 and 2 will get cancelled. Y will remain. When I put a 2 over here, 2 1s are, 2 4s are. Just 4 will remain with a negative sign. So this looks to be a better equation. Let me number it as equation number 1. Now, in order to find x and y, we ultimately need one more equation, right? So now if we think about the next equation, that we can get nothing else but looking at these two sides. So till now we had focused on these two sides, and that is where we had an equation with us, and now we'll focus on these two sides. Okay, so let's try doing that. So now I will say y is equals to x plus 4 or x plus 4 is equals to y. You can write either ways. Okay, so I will write x plus 4 is equals to y, just to keep it more standard and just to make it look more decent. I will say x plus 4 is equals to what was that? X plus 4 was equals to 2y, right? So let me write like x plus 4 is equals to 2y. Can I number it as equation number 2? Right. The reason is because it is not in a standard form yet, isn't it? So let me bring it in a standard form. So at the very first place, as soon as after writing this equation, when we come to this, there might be a confusion that might arise into teacher's mind. So in order to just avoid that confusion, we will just add a line called, we'll add a word called as also. Means what? Now teacher is comfortable. Also means what? Initially I had considered these two sides, and now I am considering these two sides. So as soon as I switch to the next two sides, I will just add a word called as also. So also means now I am considering the next two sides. So here let me just bring this 2y over here. So x was already there. I will bring this 2y over here. It will become minus 2y. And at the same time, this number should not be over here. It should go over there. So I will send it over there and it will become minus 4. Now I have a proper equation over here. I don't even need to divide anything over here, because in the previous sum it was not the case, right? We had 2 in both the places. That was the reason why I divided throughout by 2 to make it more simple. But here it is just with y. X doesn't have anything, so there is no need to divide anything over here. So I will number it as equation number 2. Now I have both the equations with me. I can proceed ahead with my solving. So I leave this up to you. You can solve this equation simultaneously and get the values of x and y. So if you ask me like what you will do in order to solve this equation, some of them you might think of multiplying throughout this equation 1 by 2 in order to get 2y. But I suggest something like, if you just focus on this x and x, right, you already have same terms over here, same terms with different sign, minus and plus. So at the moment when you say same, when you see same terms with different sign, it is recommended to add the equations. So simply by adding the equations, you will get the value of y in this scenario, because your x will get cancelled and you will land up to get your value of y. Okay, so I leave this solution, like in order to how to solve this equation, I leave it up to you. And finally you may have the value of x and y with you. So let me just quickly fetch the value of x and y. So in this scenario, whenever you solve these two equations, you will get the value of x as 12. Your value of x will be 12. And let me just check what will be the value of y. So the value of y will be 8. Okay, so I'm directly writing the answers over here, but you will have to solve these equations in order to get these answers, x and y. And in order to solve this equation, you can probably refer to my previous videos. Over there I have written steps to how to solve such equations. So over there, referring to that, you will be comfortable in finding x and y using these two equations. So now that was one of the part of my question. I believe I find the value of x and y. So by doing this approach, you will be ready with your x and y. But they need something else as well. They need perimeter and area. Let us give it a thought. What do you mean by perimeter? And perimeter of what? In this sum, it is all about rectangle. So what do you mean by perimeter of rectangle? Do we have a formula for perimeter of rectangle? Yes, we do have, right? Do you recall the formula? It is nothing else but 2 length plus 2 breadth, isn't it? And what is the formula for area of a rectangle? Area of a rectangle is nothing else but length into breadth. So the whole story lies behind finding the value of L and B, because unless and until you find the value of L and B, you might not be able to find perimeter and area. So now let's focus on finding L and B over here in this sum. Okay, so let's find L at the first place. Now L means what? L is nothing else but length. If you see here, you have two options for length. This is also a length and this is also a length. We can choose any one of them. I will suggest choosing this because it is a smaller one, so it will be easy for us to calculate. So I will say length is 4x minus y. And now I will just recall the values of x and y which I identified after solving the equations. So 12 and 8. I will just simply put 12 and 8 over here. So it will give me something like 4 times 12 minus 8. So it is 48 minus 8. So it is nothing else but 40. In the similar way, let's find the value of b as well. So if I look at the image, I have two breadths with me, right? This is also a breadth and this is also a breadth. I can choose any one of them. It is my choice. Either I want to choose x plus 4 or 2y. I will go ahead with 2y. So now it is up to you. Even if you use x plus 4, you will get the same answer, okay? Let me just select 2y in this case. So my breadth is 2y. Now who is my y? Y is 8. So if I put a 8 over here, it will become 2 times 8, which is 60. And now since I have length and breadth, finding perimeter and area will not be a big deal, I believe. So in order to find perimeter, what should I do? I will apply this formula, isn't it? 2 length plus 2 breadth. So for perimeter, I will apply the formula 2 length plus 2 breadth. And you know what is your length and breadth now? You will put the values of length and breadth. What is length? It is 40. What is breadth? It is 16. So 2 times 40 plus 2 times 16. And I leave the solution up to you. And finally, when you calculate, you will get something like 112. So being this a perimeter, we always apply centimeter, meter at towards the end as a unit. But in this case, in this sum, there is nothing like a centimeter or meter given to us. Taking that into consideration, what I will do is I will just put unit. Okay, this was just perimeter. Now I should find the value of area too as well, right? So for area, we have another formula. What is area? It is length into breadth. Again, I do have my length and breadth with me, which I have identified over here. Length and breadth. These values I will just put it over here. That is 40 and 16. So it will come up to be 640. And since it is area, I will put square centimeter or square meter as a unit. But since we don't have centimeter or meter in this sum, I will just put square unit. Hope this was an easy sum. Let's see another variety of sum. Let's see this another variety of sum, which is a bit lengthy, but it will be very interesting to understand. So here, if I look at the very end sentence of this particular sum, right, it says find the fraction. Okay, so in the previous sum, like if I just go to the very first sum in this video, so there it was like find the numbers, and that's where I said that, you know, let the smaller number be x and bigger number or greater number be y. But in this case, it is fraction. So in fraction, what do you understand by fraction? Fraction is nothing else but something in the numerator and something in the denominator, right? So that is what is fraction is. So what I will do is, in this sum, I will say, let my numerator be x and denominator be y. And that will be the easiest way to start off with the sum. So by doing that, what, at the end of the, at the end of the result, we will have the value of x and y. So let me just say my x is 3 and my y is 5. I'm just taking some random values of x and y. So what will be my final answer looking like? So I will say my fraction is nothing else but 3 upon 5, because value of x is 3 and value of y is 5. So that is the, holistic idea of behind this sum. So let's start off the sum with the same idea in mind. So I will write the solution like, what I will say about the solution, I will say, let the numerator be x and denominator be y. Okay, I am just naming the numerator as x and denominator as y, and I am starting with the sum. So let me just read the very first line. Probably that will give me some idea like what should be the first equation looking like. So I will say, according to first condition. Let's read the first line and let's see how it will help me to frame an equation. Denominator of the fraction. Okay, just by reading this line, denominator of the fraction, my focus will go on y, isn't it? So I will start writing my equation like y. Okay, y, denominator of the fraction is means equals to 4 means 4, nothing else but 4, isn't it? More than means we have to add, isn't it? We will add them. More than what? Twice the numerator. Twice means 2 times. Numerator means x, so 2x. Simple and straightforward as that. I just read the line and I just created the equation over here. Now coming to the numbering of this equation, I may not number this directly because it is not in a standard form. I will have to bring this 2x over this side. So what I will do is I will just bring this plus 2x over here and I will make it as minus 2x. But over this side we already had a presence of y, so that y will still remain over here towards the left side if equal to. Now how are they connected to each other? There is no sign of y, means it is plus, and in the right side I will just have my 4 alone. So this is my proper equation, which I can number it as equation number 1. Okay. Now I might have one more condition in the next line. So I will write, say, according to second condition. So let me see what is my second condition in this sum. Second condition. So let me just read and write together. Okay. So with me, denominator becomes, denominator means for me it is y, isn't it? So I will say y. Becomes means what? It is going to become something. So I will just put an equal to sign. Be very careful while I am reading this because it is going to be a bit tricky. 12 times. 12 times means simply as 12 into 12 times. What? Numerator. Simple as that. Numerator is x. So I will just put a x over here. Till here it is fine. Like there is no such rocket science behind this. But now the next line is something which will confuse us. If both numerator and denominator is reduced by 6, means what? After writing this line, you have to reduce 6. That means you have to subtract 6 from both numerator and denominator. Means from this y you have to reduce 6, and from this x you have to reduce 6. Now just one thing to keep in mind, x is not standing alone, right? There is a 12 also beside it. So just to make sure that we are just reducing 6 from this x, we will put a bracket over here. Okay, putting this bracket is very important because it is said that numerator and denominator is reduced by 6. So my focus is only on x and y. From y I will reduce 6, and from x also I will reduce 6. Okay. Ultimately I may not be able to write equation number 1, equation number 2 over here. I will have to simplify a bit for this. So first of all I will write this as it is, equals to, when I send this 12 inside, 12 when it goes to x, it will become 12x, and minus will remain here. When 12 goes to 6, it will become 72, isn't it? Now can I number it as equation number 2? Still not, right? Because I need to bring x term over here, and this number which is standing over here, it should go over here. So let us do that swiping thing. I will bring this 12x over here, so it is a plus 12x. When it jumps over here, it will become minus 12x. Over here we already had an alphabet y. I will keep it over here, and I could see there is no link between them, so it is an addition sign. I will just put a equal to over here. So towards the right side we already had minus 72. Let me just keep minus 72 as it is. Now minus 6 should jump over here as plus 6, and let's solve this. The final line, minus 12x plus y is equals to, plus minus is a minus. If I subtract them, I will get 66, and if I put a bigger number sign, it will be minus 66. So this looks better. Let me number it as equation number 2, and hence we have two equations with us. So frankly speaking, you can simply solve this equation by subtracting both of them, because if you focus on this, you can see same term and same sign. So the funda says like same term, same sign, we should subtract them. So simply by subtracting these two equations, you will get the value of x, and when you put the value of x in any of this equation, you will get value of y. So I will just quickly grab the value of x and y directly for the understanding purpose, and I believe you will be able to solve these two equations simultaneously and get the value of x and y. I am directly writing the value of x and y over here. So in this case, the value of x is 7, and the value of y that you will get might be 18. Okay, so once you get these values, how will you wrap up your sum? So the question all began like, find the fraction, and for us this x and y was nothing else but numerator and denominator, isn't it? So how I will write my final answer? I will say, therefore the fraction is writing 7 at the numerator and 18 in the denominator. So this will be my final answer.